Dear friends, my name is Martha and I'm from the Wake Up London Sangha. I'm going to read to you. Creating True Peace by Thich Nhat Hanh. Chapter 3. Peace begins with us, taking your practice into the world. In 1968, during the height of the Vietnam War, my student, Sister Chan Kong, was doing reconstruction work in Thao Dien. In this relatively peaceful village, we had sponsored many projects to help peasants improve their livelihoods. One day, as Sister Chan Kong arrived at the village, she was shocked to see it had been invaded by a platoon of American soldiers carrying grenades and machine guns. They looked anxious and scared, as if at any time they might start shooting. At that moment, the sister remembered the reports in all the Vietnamese papers about My Lai, where American soldiers had killed an entire village of mostly women, children, and elderly people. She realized then that if just one person in the village started to scream or behave in an agitated way, it could ignite the fear in the hearts of the American soldiers, causing them to open fire on everyone, just like in My Lai. Sister Chan Kong brought her awareness to her breath and calmed herself, so she could see what to do and what not to do in this dangerous situation. Looking at the faces of the American soldiers, she could see how young they were, the same age as many of her own students at the university. She could see they were overwhelmed with fear. Sister Chan Kong slowly approached one of the soldiers and, using her limited English, politely asked, "What do you want to search for? What can I do to help you?" The young American was surprised to hear someone speak English to him. As he looked at the shy young woman standing before him, he met her eyes and saw she was sincerely trying to help. He said, "We want to search for the communists." Sister Chan Kong replied, "There are no communists in this village." She continued, "4 days ago, a troop of guerrillas came to the village. They wanted to kill the chief of the village and burn his house. But the villagers begged them not to, because all houses here are made from palm leaves. And if you burn his house, you will burn all our houses. We asked the gunman, 'Please, do not kill this man. He is a good person. If you kill him, the Saigon government will send another man who could be terrible to us.'" The young soldier listened to Sister Chan Kong and then called to the officer in charge, who came over and asked her similar questions. The sister explained again that there were no communists in the village. Half an hour later, the whole platoon of Americans withdrew. Bloodshed was avoided, and peace was restored, thanks to the mindfulness and the calmness of a young lady who knew how to breathe, how to look deeply, and how to communicate compassionately with soldiers. The war stops and starts with you and me. Every morning when you open your eyes, the potential for violence and war begins. So, every morning when you open your eyes, please water the seeds of compassion and non-violence. Try selecting a mindfulness practice that helps you transform your own internal conflicts. Let peace begin with you. When we practice mindfulness in our daily life, we cultivate the foundation of peace, sowing seeds of understanding in ourselves and others. We are all eager to prevent and to end war. Many of us want to do something, but we often feel hopeless and helpless. Please do not allow these feelings to overwhelm you. They are of no benefit to you or the world. You can make peace, but just making declarations opposing war is not enough. We may shout over and over again, "Violence is inhuman and destructive," but shouting alone will not end war. Every mindful step we make, and every mindful breath we take, will establish peace in the present moment and prevent war in the future. If we transform our individual consciousness, we begin the process of changing the collective consciousness. Transforming the world's consciousness is not possible without personal change. The collective is made of the individual, and the individual is made of the collective. And each and every individual has a direct effect on the collective consciousness. Our only weapon is love. One day in 1965, while I was a monk at the Truk Lam Monastery in Saigon, my monastic brother Nat Tree, was walking in the streets of the city. An American military truck passed by, and an American soldier standing on the back of the truck spit on his head. Brother Nat Tree came to me and cried because he felt so humiliated. I told him the American soldier had probably heard a lot of propaganda that Buddhist monks and nuns were communists in disguise. Therefore, when the soldier saw Brother Nat Tree, he showed his hatred by spitting on him. The American GI was a victim of misperception and ignorance. I said, "Brother, you should not hate him. If you hate him, it means you have not yet understood." In such awful situations, many young people wanted to forsake their practice of non-violence and join the National Liberation Front, picking up a gun in order to fight the Americans. I held Brother Nat Tree in my arms for a long time, saying, "My child, we are not born to hold a gun. We are born to love. Love is the only weapon we carry." These words helped him reconnect to his original purpose, and he stayed to continue his social work. The world is full of discrimination, violence, hatred. If we allow ourselves to be caught by these negative energies, we cannot help each other or our planet. Instead, we must cultivate freedom, solidity, and understanding. You do not have to be a monk or a nun to practice like this. You need only the willingness to open your heart to the goodness within you, your Buddha nature, the mind of love. Writing a love letter. People often think, if only I had the chance to express my frustration and pain, I would feel better. Yet many of us have tried this in the past, and it has not helped. We have vented our frustration and anger, our pain and complaints many times, and still we feel unsatisfied. There is a better alternative. When you have practiced transforming your own inner pain, you can begin to learn how to express yourself in a way in which the other person can listen, so that he or she can really hear what you have to say. If we only insult or condemn, our speech will be of no use. With mindfulness, we practice to be honest and to be skillful at the same time. Many people are capable of writing a letter of protest, a letter of dissatisfaction, or a complaint. But not many of us are capable of writing a love letter. Expressing yourself with love is an art. When you have understanding and compassion, you will succeed in expressing your concerns to the other person. When you are angry, blaming, and punishing in tone, you will not succeed. You will only make the gulf between you wider. You must protest acting with the mind of love. When you are able to give rise to the mind of love, you are in a good position to begin writing your love letter. Your letter will reflect your calm, your clarity, and your compassion, and the other person will be able to receive what you want to say. Further training in compassion and peace work. I have a friend who lives in Central Europe and is an environmental activist. He is very angry. He is not happy with his wife, parents, friends, or society. He pollutes his mind and body with nicotine, alcohol, and negative judgments about other people. He does not know how to make peace within. He is a militant in the protection of the environment, but not in the protection of himself. I doubt very much that he will succeed in helping the environment because he tries to defend the planet with his anger, violence, and self-pollution. This is not the way to protect nature. Whenever we hold retreats for environmentalists at Plum Village, we say, "Dear friends, please take care of yourself if you want to protect the environment. The very well-being of the planet depends on the way you handle your body, your feelings, your perceptions, and your consciousness. In the same way, the well-being of your body and mind depends on the well-being of the planet. If you cannot deal with the problem of pollution and violence within you, how can you deal with the problem of pollution and violence outside of you, in nature?" In fact, we say the same thing to all the professionals who come to Plum Village. Engaged peace workers need to be strong, stable, and genuinely peaceful. Inner balance is crucial for peace work. If we lose our own mindfulness, we cannot help. We should not try to help others in an effort to escape our own sorrow, despair, or inner conflict. If you are not peaceful and solid enough inside yourself, your contributions will not be useful. We must first practice mindfulness and grow compassion in ourselves so that peace and harmony are in us before we can work effectively for social change. Of course, you do not have to wait until you achieve perfect peace and harmony before you engage in social action. Every time we are able to restore even a small amount of peace within ourselves, we already have a positive effect on our family and society. Know your limits and nourish yourself with the practice of mindfulness. Then you will find an inner balance. We must sustain our spiritual practice to avoid burnout. The best way to do this is in the context of a community of practice, which in Buddhism we call Sangha. I recommend to friends who are engaged in helping others to set aside 1 day a week to practice together with a Sangha. During the other 6 days when working, try always to practice mindful breathing and mindful walking and to maintain peace and stability. Alone, we will lose our ability to help. We must act together. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the Winter Warmer Festival, and thank you to Joe and Rachel and to everyone in Plum Village and throughout the community who have supported this to happen. Thank you as well for being here. Take care.